Good morning and happy Sunday, YouTube. In today's video, we're going to do a little learn-do exercise. That's right. You're going to learn by doing. So in today's video, I'm going to take you step by step on how you form a corporation without using LegalZoom. Yeah, you're going to save yourself some money doing this. So we're going to use an example today of setting up a corporation in the state of sunny Southern California where the gas prices are extremely high. Sorry if you live in California. I'm apologizing to you. I know it's hard out there for, you know how the song goes. So at any rate, what we have here is the California Secretary of State. Now, every state has a Secretary of State which you go to form your corporation. Now, just for the sake of today's learn-do exercise, we're going to use, again, the state of sunny Southern California where the gas prices are high, and we're going to form a corporation. Now, there's two different types of corporation. There's a S corporation, and there is a C corporation. Now, the difference between the two is an S corporation is almost similar to an LLC, which is a pass-through corporation. Now remember, the reasons that we incorporate, guys, is one, we want to protect our assets because we are in business. Times are hard, and some people find it an opportunity to sue different companies so they can get the bag. So while we're in business and we're chasing our dreams, we want to protect our assets from people like this. So we incorporate. Another reason why we incorporate is so that we can protect our privacy. Yes, now corporations' information is public record. And I have a video coming out here pretty soon on some very well-known YouTubers who have pierced their corporate veil and pierced their privacy by way of filing their corporations improperly or their LLCs. Remember, guys, you're filing this information at the Secretary of State or whatever state you reside in, and the information is easily accessible. I'm going to give you guys a little insight on my background. I'm a paralegal. That's how I know this stuff. Yeah, my specialty is in corporate law. It's how I know this stuff. But guess what happens? So someone walks into a supermarket or either a corner store, slips and falls. And so they reach out to a slip and fall attorney. And attorneys have paralegals. Well, a paralegal 10 out of the 10 times is a person that you're going to have a conversation with before you have a conversation with an actual attorney. And what our job is to see if you actually have a case that's worth our time. So we're going to ask you a few questions, ask you what happened, and get the details of the story. And as we're getting that information from you, while we have you on the phone, we're going to ask you the name of the story that you slipped and fell in, and we're going to go to the Secretary of State, which is the first step of our asset check. That's right. We have to find out if it's even worth the attorney's time to take the case. And by the way, what we're looking for is asset. We're looking for money that we can go after so we can help you win the case and get compensated for your injury. That's how this thing works, guys. But there's a way to creatively protect your assets and at the same time maintaining your privacy by becoming a needle in the haystack. And I'm going to show you that here today. So, Shirley N. Weber, she's got a PhD. She's a California Secretary of State. So how you get to this website is you simply go to www.sos.ca.gov and you click on the business tab there. And it's going to bring you to business programs, which is the page that we're on now. Under hot topics, you see corporate formations, file online, LLC statement of information, file online, corporation statement of information, file online. And if you want to register or terminate a business, you can do that here as well. They have some filing tips for corporations and for LLCs or limited liability companies. So before we get into actually filing this thing, I'm not going to go all the way through it and put my credit card information in here, but we're going to click on forms, fees, and samples so you know exactly how much it costs to file a corporation or an LLC in the sunny state of California where the gas prices are extremely high. So here we are on the forms, fees, and samples page. So on this page, it gives us a list of all the forms that are available for your usage to file your business information through the Secretary of State. So we're not going to cover an LLC today. We're going to maintain focus on a corporation, specifically a C corporation. C stands for closed, privately held company, corporation. So we're going to be filing a domestic corporation. Now, there are foreign corporations. So, for example, if you reside in the state of California and you want to do business in the state of Nevada, well, you would have to go to the Nevada Secretary of State and form a foreign corporation or do business as a foreign corporation in the state of Nevada. And there are fees associated with that. So that's when you're really getting into like level 5 of this whole thing, and now you're expanding your business across different states, which is completely and totally doable. So once again, you would have to get a green light from the Secretary of State by giving them a little money. Your corporation would have to be in good standing, meaning that your fees and everything would have to be up to date. The corporation would have to be active with no taxes in arrears. By the way, in California, a C corporation has $800 filing or tax fees that's due at the end of every year. Now, $800 may sound like a lot of money, but it's a little money if you're in business and the business is flourishing. So what I would recommend is you plan for that as you form this corporation. In 12 months, you're going to have $800 due to keep the corporation active. Now, if for whatever reason the $800 ends up becoming an issue, well, then the corporation ends up being defaulted, and ultimately, you can reinstate the corporation, but it's going to cost you $800. You may have some late fees attached to that, and then you have to pay the Secretary of State $30, to reinstate. But the great thing about corporations is you can have as many of them as you want. So if things go bad, you know, learning is through trial and error. And a lot of times we learn by making mistakes. And so if the company doesn't do as well its first go round, well, you come right back to the Secretary of State and you do this process again. You file a new one for $100. It's right here. Click on the plus sign here, California Domestic Corporation. Domestic means in-state. And there you are. To file your articles of incorporation, general stock, it's $100. This is the one that we'll be doing, articles of incorporation for a closed corporation, it's $100. Articles of incorporation for a professional corporation, this is what lawyers and attorneys typically use. You'll see LLP. Okay, so this is for a professional corporation. It too is $100, and you continue on going down the line. So to start this corporation, and we're going to file it online, back when I started this in 2003, there were 3 places in the state that I reside that you can actually walk into the Secretary of State with your document and hand it to them and go back in 2 or 3 days and they'd have your corporation filed and you didn't even have to use the mail system at all. You can just walk in there. I was within an hour or so. I had to drive and I'd walk in and handle my articles of incorporation, which is just 1 page. They tell me check back in 3 days. I would go on the website here, see if I found the name of my company or my corporation. If it was there, I'd go pick up my articles. It was just that simple. Now I did have to pay like a little convenience fee, which at that time was $10. It was well worth it. So going back to, we have the articles of incorporation here. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And this is for General Stock Corporation. We are filing a closed corporation, guys. S corporation is a pass-through, and it passes through you as a person of flesh. It is attached to your social, and there's very limited privacy there. So articles of incorporation, General Stock Corporation, it's only $100 to file. Then you pay $5 to get a certified copy. So we're going to go ahead and remember I said that there's a $800 tax to the California Franchise Tax Board each year, due at the end of the year. So for example, being that we're in the month of March, so March of 2023 is when your $800 would come due. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead and accept the California Secretary of State's online filing service. They have a privacy and terms and conditions of use warning here. We'll go ahead and click next. Now here's where you put the name of your corporation. Now remember, in one of my other videos, I told you want to keep the name of your corporation very general. So you want to have something like, I would subscribe subscribe to this. All right? Management corporation. All right? So you always want to use something general like a management corporation or or you can use enterprises, INC, or enterprises incorporated, anything like that. You don't want to name your parent corporation XYZ Trucking, because that pigeonholes your business from the get-go. You want to have flexibility. As entrepreneurs, you always have multiple business ideas. So the way I have you set this up is you have your parent company as the management company of the divisions which are now specific to what they do. So for example, it'll be, I would subscribe to this management corporation doing business as Number One Hotshot Trucking Incorporated would be the first division. Second division would be My Hair is So Bomb Incorporated. It's a hair care line. And the third DBA or division of the corporation would be Mimi's Cleaning Company Incorporated or Mimi's Cleaning Incorporated. You see how that works? So you're giving yourself in your corporation flexibility to do different tasks or different industry specific divisions attached to the corporation. All right, so this will be our corporation name. I would subscribe to this management corporation. No need to check the name reservation box, and you'll go ahead and click next. Now, the country that we're in, United States of America, which by the way is a corporation, guys. Told you, you have to do your research on this stuff. Check the 14th Amendment. Clearly states that the corporation is a legal person, but it needs a person of flesh to act on its behalf, which is typically when you're looking at finances and open bank accounts and applying for business working capital. Typically, the person that's acting on behalf of the corporation is the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer. Now, the initial street address of the corporation. This is where a lot of people get this really wrong and mixed up. As I stated, I'm going to do a video here that's going to drop here within the next couple days of very famous YouTubers who have pierced their privacy veil by using the address that they lay their head in. Guys, I recommend that you look up a virtual office. Now, virtual office is okay for the service of the process of service while you're forming the corporation. A virtual office is not okay when you're attempting to build credit. How can you be in business in a little tiny mailbox? And there's ways that these credit analysts and underwriters can determine when you're in a virtual office. But what I do recommend, though, is you look up a virtual office. If that's the only option that you have, look up a virtual office in your area that also leases physical offices. Pause. All right, so that's where you would list this initial address. So we're just going to use a very general street address here for our address. Remember, we're not using the address that we lay our heads at. That's going to pierce our privacy. And especially if you're a homeowner, you do not want to list your address here, because remember, if something happens, someone walks into your business, slips and falls, or someone's not happy with the service or the product that you provided, and they're ready to take you to court, and they end up on the phone with the paralegal, we're going to do an asset search. And if this address is attached to your home, everything that you worked hard for is now on the line, and we're going to go after it. We being the attorneys, the paralegals, the whole shebang. By the way, just so you understand the role that a paralegal plays, the paralegal is a shepherdizer. We do all the case study. So to simply put it, it's kind of like a writer, a screenwriter, and an actor. The writers do all the research, write the scripts and so on, that the actors act out. The same thing happens in the case of a paralegal, an attorney, or a lawyer. The paralegals do all the shepherdizing of the law and case study, and we present that to the actors who have a license to act in the court of law, which are the attorneys and the lawyers. That's the role that paralegals play in this thing, just so you know. Just a little note. So we'll go ahead and add, we'll just add a zip code here, random zip code. I think that's a California zip code, if I remember correctly. And they're asking, is this initial mailing address of the corporation as the same as the initial street address? So we're going to go ahead and click yes and go to next. What's the agent service or process? We're going to check individual. Now, a registered agent or a corporation can be a registered agent. That's for complete and total privacy. I mean, that's really creating a spider web there, guys. But in order to do that, you already have to have a second corporation set up to be able to put that as a California registered corporate agent. And the only thing the agent of service or process is when litigation happens, you have to have an address that these court documents can be served to. That's all this is. So, now, to create the needle in the haystack for ultimate privacy, instead of putting your complete first name and last name here, you could put your first initial and your last name, or even your middle initial and your last name. Okay? Just like this. And then the street address would be the same address. If you have a virtual office, that's where you would enter it here. So we'll go ahead and enter our 123 Jackson Street in Los Angeles, California, with a zip code of 92882. And I'm not sure if that's a Los Angeles address or not. I'm just using this as an example. And we'll click next. Now, total number of shares. Now you can go to from 0 to 1,000,000 shares you want to issue on this. Now, what happens though is as you get into those higher number of shares that you want to issue, it may have an effect on your filing fees. It may cost you more. So, general rule of thumb, I like to use anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000. It's been my experience um, over the past years that I've been doing this, that it has not affected the filing fees at all. It keeps them at the $100 to file the corporation. So I like to keep it around the 10,000 to 25,000 range. The choice is yours. Do your research though. Filing date, current date, it's already checked. We'll go ahead and click next. And there you are. These are your articles of incorporations, guys, right here. Corporation's name. I would subscribe to this management corporation. Actually, I would subscribe to this channel because, as you say, we put out fire here. This information is the best information when it comes to this stuff on the YouTube platform. Business addresses. Here's our initial street address, the mailing address. This is the address that the filed articles of incorporation, they'll have a stamp on it that says filed, and you'll also receive a corporate charter number. Initial mailing of offer, initial mailing address of corporation is there. The service of process. So you have the first initial last name with the same address there. The shares that are authorized to issue is 25,000 shares. You have the purpose statement that's already populated there, so you don't have to be concerned about that. The incorporator, when you sign it here, is where you put your first initial, last name. Now, you can have a Gmail account set up for this. This information here, the email address is not public record, but the incorporator information is, okay? And also, in the next video, we're going to go to the next step, and we'll be filing the statement of information, which is the officers list. That information, too, is public record, so you want to become the needle in the haystack there as well, and I'll show you that on the next video. That's all we have here on this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video where we continue filing the statement of information for your California corporation or C corporation. See you on the next video. Like, share, subscribe, comment. It all helps. Thanks so much. Success to you.